Now let's move on to the gameplay because I know those of you who like Skyward Sword are thinking about ranting right now. Moving on to the gameplay. The gameplay is mainly centered around the Wii Motion Plus mechanics. Now, Wii Motion mechanics, Wii Motion Plus. There's a difference because if you don't have the controller, you have to go out and buy the component. And they don't sell the component anymore, so you have to go buy another $40 controller and then talk about it on the internet. But anyway, it centers around that, and so you're going to be swinging your Wiimote a lot, and it's going to be pretty accurate. Not 100% accurate, but pretty accurate, and it does well. It's nothing really to brag about, but it does well. You know, Zelda has always had good controls. Now, my major complaint with the gameplay aspect is that one, it's still in the easy realm. Twilight Princess was easy, and a lot of Zelda fans complained about that. I actually excuse Twilight Princess for its easiness, and I understand why. But by the time we got to Skyward Sword, I thought it was time to, go back to being hard again. It wasn't too easy like Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess was the easiest Zelda game, but Skyward Sword is still pretty easy. And another thing it incorporates is it lacks exploration, which is a heavy component in Zelda. We've been exploring in Zelda ever since the first game, and it's really bad that they lowered that amount, that detail, because the things that you find, there's still secrets to find in Skyward Sword, but many of them were along the way secrets. Like they would point them out on your map and say, hey, this is a secret that you haven't explored. Or dowsing, which is actually a factor of both exploring and being easy. Dowsing, pretty much you could find any item, and that's been a major thing about Zelda, finding hidden items. Why would you put something that finds items for you? And people say it's just like the Lens of Truth in Ocarina of Time, or the Wolf Sense in Twilight Princess. No, it is not. Those items had heavy limitations on their components, and they weren't used for a wide variety of things. Dowsing was used for a good amount of things, and it could be used pretty much anywhere except in dungeons. That was the only place it couldn't be used. So the gameplay itself, it doesn't really do too badly, but if you're a heavy Zelda fan, it can really get you complaining because it takes out a lot of Zelda components that we didn't want taken out. Now, looking at this graphically wise, let me tell you, when I first started playing Zelda, I was hoping for HD. And then Twilight Princess came out, and I was so happy. I was like, yes, this is the course we need to stay on. I don't mind cel-shaded for a time, Wind Waker was fantastic. It had great graphics for its game, but I preferred the Twilight Princess graphics. Then Skyward Sword came out, and it said, we're going to kind of dumb down the realism. Okay, the graphics aren't inherently bad. They're just not 100% realistic, and that kind of took away from it for me. Now, I've learned that if you readjust the settings on your TV, you can make your game look amazing. I currently readjusted I amped up the detail, dimmed down the color so that it looked more real because Nintendo loves vibrant colors for some reason. And and I dimmed down my color and I dimmed down my brightness, and it looked amazing. I have to say the graphics really do a decent job if you're trying not to think about Twilight Princess. Alright, now let's talk about the music. You can't talk about Skyward Sword without talking about its music. Nintendo decided to finally give a Zelda game some orchestrated music after their grand success of Super Mario Sunshine. And we as Zelda fans were like, yes, finally we get some recognition. Because the thing about music in Zelda, I'll let you know a little secret. We Zelda fans really love music. Music. We really love the music in Zelda games. And we don't walk around bragging about it or anything like that. It doesn't really seem like it, but cause it's kind of like a secret love that we keep in the back of our heads. It's like we'll go into a Zelda game like, oh man, this is gonna be fun. It's Zelda, and then we come out like, oh man, I forgot Nintendo could do that with music. I forgot Zelda games had such good music. So we come to have a rather high expectation of Zelda music without actually having a high expectation of Zelda music. Now, Skyward Sword kind of bragged about being orchestrated. You know, when I say bragged, I mean announced. It told everybody it's going to have orchestrated music. Now, we Zelda fans were already used to having really rupee music in our games, so you tell us it's going to be orchestrated, we're thinking, oh man, this is going to be the best music we've ever had. And that means we're putting an expectation on the game. And that's why I hate spoilers, because I don't want any expectations from the game. I want to experience it myself. So now we're going in Skyward Sword pre-thinking that it's going to have the most rupee music ever, hence the because of the orchestrated. And me, I can tell you myself, I was really excited because I played Super Mario Galaxy and that music was kicking. I ain't even gonna lie, I was jamming to that music, and I was ready for Skyward Sword to be just as awesome, if not probably better. Now, the music in Skyward Sword, how is it exactly? It's orchestrated. It's atmospheric. It's done well. The game has rupee video game music. There is a but, though. But, however, although it felt like there was something missing from the music. And a fellow Z Deer kind of said it best. He was like, no music in Skyward Sword is really catchy or memorable. And the key word that I'm agreeing with here is memorable, not so much catchy. I'm not 100% on catchy, but he's right about the memorable part. Skyward Sword really didn't have too much of memorable music. And I've been playing Zelda for a good while now. I've played 10 of the games. I know I haven't played all of them. I'm such a horrible Zelda fan. But this is the first Zelda game that I really felt that I didn't have memorable music. Well, there was one song that was memorable, but it wasn't memorable in that sense. It was, okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent right quick. The Sky song, when you're flying in the sky, okay, that song, it's similar to Wind Waker's main theme, in which you're sailing on the ocean. Both of them simulate you're going on an epic adventure, although Skyward Sword's a bit different adventure than Wind Waker's. And I love Wind Waker's main theme. I love it. It's like one of my favorite songs in Zelda. Now, the difference here is, though, Wind Waker, the ocean was so vast and held so many secrets that you always felt like you were going on an adventure, so the music was appropriate. Skyward Sword's main theme music, it worked the first time you were on your bird, but you spent so much time going back and forth that the sky started becoming your backyard. It literally is Link's backyard. People in Skyloft, when they just want to go for a stroll, they can just run, jump on their bird, and go through a stroll. And you go through the sky so much because traveling becomes such a tedious task in Skyward Sword that the sky actually does become your backyard as well. And like I said, Skyward Sword is lacking in exploration than most Zelda games. So you're in a place not as big as the ocean with not too many things to explore in it. The music seems to not be fitting, and it kind of gets annoying that you've got this really adventurous music playing, and all you're doing is going to see your friend, your neighbor. And it's like you'll land for, 10, 15 seconds, and then run and jump, and then the music will start back over. But anyway, get back to what I was saying. There's really not much memorable music in Skyward Sword. Now, the thing is, though, Skyward Sword had music that had the potential to be memorable. And let me explain what I mean by that. The Ballad of the Goddess, that is a jam. That song was kicking. Oh my goodness, that was an awesome song. That is my new jam. But the thing about it is, I didn't know it was my jam until I listened to the orchestrated CD, which I listened to after I beat the game of the orchestrated CD. The 25th anniversary CD. I didn't know it was my jam until I listened to that because some of the music in Skyward Sword that's really memorable and really good, they only play about 2 or 3 times. And you kind of don't want to do... Okay, for Zelda games, you want to stick to a particular formula when it comes to music. You want to either A, have it for a specific land, have it loop while you're in a specific land, which Zelda games always do. Or 2, You want to have it for a specific character or a specific event. And the reason for this being, not all video games are doing this now, but the reason that Zelda games should do this is because that tune sticks with you more when you hear it more times like that. And for a game like Zelda, which is really trying to emphasize its storybook elements, including the music, you want that to stick. So some of those things had the potential to be memorable music, and they weren't because you only heard them 2 or 3 times. And one more thing I want to say about the music is that I was really, like I said, I was really excited for orchestrated music because of Super Mario Galaxy. But some of it in Skyward Sword felt like overkill. I open the chest and I hear doom, doom, doom. I'm like, okay. I mean, I honestly preferred it when it just went dun 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 dun, dun on the older Zeldas rather than it go dun dun. It really felt like it was trying too hard to be fancy. So, as video game music, Skyward Sword doesn't really do bad. It's very Rupee music. It's really well done. The only thing is, we Zelda fans have come to expect a bit more from our music. And this game not only disappointed us in it being orchestrated but not better, but just not being as good as most Zelda music is. So I have to give it a poor grade on that one. Skyward Sword pretty much proves that just because your game has orchestrated music doesn't mean it's gonna have better music.